privileged to know the Grunewalds for decades in Vandersville. I never came home, I never went home with any cookies or cakes because by the time we left, we were so full, I couldn't look at food. But she insisted. To talk about Oma Grunebaum, if you never met her, it doesn't matter. You know, it's a waste of time. I can't, it's indescribable. And if you have known her, which you all do, you know, I don't have to tell you about her. But I thought, my thoughts as we were talking now, is we have to apply everything to the parasha, and this week we have a double parasha. Double parashas are fantastic for speakers, because if you find nothing to say about one, you can find about the other one. I think that's why they make Malav Maltas Motzei Shabbos, because if your mind goes on a blank from the previous parasha, find something from the next parasha. So put them both together, it's a little challenging. What was I going to say? We have Nitzavim Vayela.
Yes.
We have Nitzavim Vayela. It's interesting that the Parashas Nitzavim is the Parasha of Tshuva. The Gra says that the entire Chamisha Chumsha Torah, the 5 Svarim, are for the 5,000 years of Golus. We see a revival in Bala Tshuva because this is already towards the end before Mashiach's time. So in Tzavim is Parashas of Tshuva, so the Gra says that you'll see before Mashiach will come, there will be a reawakening and a lot of people will come back to their fold. The Kabbalists, the Sifrei Kabbalah, talk about the fact that a human being is on a higher level than an angel, than a malach. Now, which doesn't mean to say that if a malach will come down here, we will be on a higher level than he is, but the capabilities that a human being is able to attain is far more than an angel, because an angel was created as an omed. He is stationary. The way HaKadosh Baruch Hu created him, that's how he stays. He can't go higher or lower. A human being, on the other hand, is considered a holy. He can always attain greater and greater heights. Everybody was talking about Oma, that she was a giver and not a taker. And I've said that, I think last year when we spoke about by the Shiva, and I said, we're all here to remember Oma. I call her Oma because that's how I called her then also. I had another Oma, but it's okay. This was the one. And I said that time, in order for us to help the neshama to accomplish what we really want and to live in her example, it's something that we have to give. The way we attain that is by everybody. It's easy to cry, it's easy to give a sigh, and it's easy to shed a tear because it makes you feel better. But what about doing something for Oma? So of course, the idea is that when we get together for a Yartzeit Seuda, the point is that we all try to remember and try within ourselves to take a certain Kabbalah and to better ourselves for the benefit of our neshama. It doesn't have to be something great. I'll give you an example. If somebody davens, for example, I know your davening, let's say, takes 25 minutes. I'm talking already to Shabbos. So add 2 or 3 minutes. If you say a kapitel Tehillim every day, say another kapitel. You can do certain things that nobody even knows. It's just between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And in that case, what you do with Oma is you enhance her neshama. You know what I thought? Nitzavim Vayela are diametrically opposed. Nitzavim is you stand, Vayelech is you walk. So how do those two fit? Because during Nitzavim, when it comes to Parshas of Tshuva, and you do a little Tshuva, and you have in mind Oma, then all of a sudden she becomes, even after she passes away, she becomes a Vayelech. She can go higher and higher. By the way, some Sifrei Hasidus talk about that even though a person cannot attain any more once he passes on to the good life, but there are certain things that a person can accomplish also. That has to do with Shabbos and Tshuva. Well, I'm not going to get into that. You know why? Because I don't understand myself that well either. So, but they do talk about it. So we take the Nitzavim and Vayelech and we put it together. In between is the parcels of Tshuva. So we turn Oma from stationary into a holech to a higher madregas because of what we did for her. And I'm sure she will appreciate that and be really a Melitza Yeshara for us. Now we did make a siyum. I learned a few Mishnahs, and I want to tell you one thing which I doubt Honey remembers that, but that showed the Muna Shute, the Ehrlichkeit, you know, everybody today, either you're a Shiva, you're a Goin, you're a Tzaddik, you are the way we say the Rabbi Shekov B'nai HaGoyle, right? You're there. But to say that somebody is simply an Ehrliche person, no airs about, that's very rare. When Honey had that restaurant years ago in Washington Heights, may it rest in peace. We were there once or twice, and we were discussing about Hechsherim. And Honey said that time that she had the rabbinate of Washington Heights about a certain product, and they said no, we don't want to use it. And you said, Honey, I have no idea why I couldn't use it. It's probably an even better hechsher than what we have. But if the rabbi said no, it is no. And I said to my wife, you know what? This is a kosher restaurant. If you have a restaurant, there can be the greatest machsher, the holiest rabbi, but if the owner is not from, now my father-in-law always tells a story, somebody came into a restaurant years ago in America, and the guy walks in, he didn't want to eat there. The owner says, there's nothing wrong here. You see this picture over there? The guy with the long white beard, that was my grandfather, you know. He said, yeah, you know, if you would be hanging on the wall and your grandfather would be here behind the counter, I would eat. But it's the other way around. Huh? Oh yeah, so the first Mishnah in Brochus, and bear with me another minute. When are you allowed to read Kriya Shema? From the time that the Kahanim go in to eat Truma. Actually, it means by Shkia, right? So why doesn't the Mishnah say from the time of the Shkia? Because you know what happens? Well, I'm coming from a Hasidic background. To me, the Shkia is when you guys are already davening Marav and even later. To some people, the Shkia is too early or too late. Everybody has his own Shulchan Aruch. What about what the Rav says? In my shul, I once had an argument. We were davening about half an hour after what some people call the Shkia. One of the, there was a young man, a koilel guy, he was all upset. I said, no, and I'm sorry, he was not a koilel guy because I told him, what do you do for a living? He works in a real estate office. I said, fine. So you are on the phone all day, you do business all day, you're on the computer all day. You see the Rav here in Shul? This Rav learns from morning to night. So you are telling me that you know better when to daven better than him, right? The Mishnah says, don't tell me when. When the Kahanim go in to eat Truma, whether you feel it's too early or it's too late. This is called belief in Amunas Chachamim. And that's what impressed me with Honey that time. She knew that thing may be even closer than what they had. But if the Rav said no, it is no. And she got that from Mr. and Mrs. Grunenbaum, because that was their simplicity, ehrlichkeit, whatever the Rav says, and that was the most trusted picture that I can imagine. Okay?
Will you say that story in Polish first?
I hope that by accomplishing what we set out to do, and by being something for the benefit of Oma, what's her name? What was her name? Sephora Bas.
Harav Naftali Dov.
Naftali, the Neshama should have an Aliyah, and she should be in Melitza Yeshar for all of us, and we should have a Kasiva V'Chasima Taiva, and I give Ben Shtior, and with all the trimmings, and thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.